Carrot. Trying to show. I'm not very good at cutting very thin slices, but so I don't have a tomato or something like that. Anyway, let's see how thin I can get that. It has more to do with control of the blade than something else, and that's pretty paper thin. Anyway, so you can see that it's cutting all the way through without chunking it. Sorry, there's a break in that. Anyway, so that you can see it. So, starting up there, you can see, makes it pretty much all the way through the carrot without it cracking apart. So it lets you understand how thin the geometry is. Paring knife thin, you know, pretty standard. Block of sheep cheese.
Look at me, Dad. Look at me, Dad.
What's up to? Oh my goodness, you're carrying heavy juice, huh?
Yeah. It's lemon juice.
It's lemon juice?
Yeah.
Looks like strawberry lemonade.
Yes.
Lemonade.
It's very heavy. I'm very strong.
This cheese is extremely brittle. You can see that I can get the blade all the way down without the cheese crack off. I mean, if you look at this cheese, it does not bend, it just breaks. Really good cheese, by the way. Welcome to Wisconsin. Summer sausage. So this is one of the challenges for the knife, as you can see. No summer sausage is thicker than this, or at least the summer sausage I get. This one is just wide enough. I'm talking to the camera. So, let's see if I can do this so that you can see cutting through. And for this, you know, the blade is just there, but, I mean, I'm ending here, and I'm not quite through. So you guys gotta rotate to come around.
Are you talking to me?
Nope, I'm talking to the camera. Whoops. Here, summer sausage. Obviously this blade is a wider profile than this blade, as well as being shorter. Although they're very similar in terms of the apex geometry, the spine geometry. This one's a lot more stout. So this can be used for carving wood and all sorts of other stuff. This one I hesitate to get too rough with, because it does have that full flat grind that comes down to a pretty thin edge. And it doesn't have a very comfortable handle. But it's so thin, makes peeling really easy. Chopping vegetables, a little bit more length on it. It's very, very lightweight. This one's a little heavier because of the heavier stock. So, much more comfortable handle though. Can be used for a variety of other tasks, but short blade just means you can only use it for certain tasks more easily. Again, you can see the width of the blade versus the apple. That's pretty close. So, let's see how many, see if we can do some slices that you'll be able to see. I'm going through the core, that's why it's a little harder. But can hopefully see.
Strawberry lemon juice.
Sorry, I'm not skilled at the kitchen. This is not usually my domain. But it's just long enough to cut through this apple with great ease. This way you can make some nice dry thin slices. Thin slices that you can dry them in the sun or in your fruit dryer. And then you can have some dried apple for later. Works well for that. Here's the knife. Still nice and sharp. You can see. So, good and sharp. So, I guess I can show you really quick shaving. So I don't know if you can see the fine hairs on my arm.
Going to do that on him.
The hair is showing up. I don't know.
Why are you doing that?
I'm gonna cut up some cardboard. This will be a little test of edge tension. Now, for most shaving implements, one run through cardboard. One run through cardboard through, I don't know how much, if it's like a few feet, a meter, is enough to get rid of that shaving edge. So we'll just do a few cuts on this
Daddy,
box here.
Could you do it for me?
No.
Okay.
So we'll just do a few cuts here. Cutting through cardboard doesn't require a razor sharp apex. All it requires is a bit of thin geometry behind that apex. So you can have a pretty dull edge and still be able to tear through cardboard that easily, so long as your blade itself is very, very thin. Not that having a sharp apex hurts at all. It certainly helps, but it doesn't need to be shaving sharp. Let's see if we lost that shaving edge. We still got it somewhat. I don't know if you can see that hair there. Anyway, we'll try the farm ad paper. Yep, still good. Haven't lost it. Maybe in a couple spots. Yeah, it's good. Do some more. I guess I'll test it quick. Uh-oh.
What?
It's not shaving at the edge that I've been using. Let me make sure that it's not due to a dirty edge. Grab this napkin here.
I say, oh no.
An edge can go dull, not just because it's degraded with metal, but also because it's collected debris, especially adhesive like tape and things like that, right at the apex. And that can cause your cutting efficiency to drop. Widens the apex diameter so that it's thicker than it would be if it were just clean. Hopefully that cleaned it up quite a bit. Alright, let's try again. No, it's not catching my hairs anymore, so we lost that edge. Try the phone book paper. Nope. Nope. Let's try just some regular paper here. So again, trying to cut there. Yeah. Printer paper. Whoop. A couple spots there where it has trouble, but for the most part, yeah, you can see there, it doesn't want to go. Kind of have to draw a slice and get to the sharper part. Anyway, so no more edge here. Now, what would you do? You lost your edge. This is DMT. This is extra fine, I think. The green should be 1200 grit, something like 10 micron or some micron. You can check online.
Sharpening it.
Mm-hmm. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Not quite there.
Oh.
Put a little spit on here to keep it smooth. I'll tilt the angle up slightly.
Hey, Dad, don't ever do that. I was watching you.
Don't ever do what?
Put some on your yuckiness onto that.
Oh, was that a pretty yucky thing to do?
Mm-hmm.
Daddies are pretty yucky sometimes. Oh. Yeah, that pretty much fixed it. Let's see if I have any hairs left to cut here. Yep, it's taking off hair again. So, that was pretty quick. Nice little touch-up. Could probably strop it or something like that, but... So that gives you an idea of what this is capable of. You can hear the cracking. That's just the cracking of the wood. It's not cracking of the edge at all. The edge is still very nice and clean, as you can see. So, but the wood is extremely hard. So putting notches like this in it, I mean, this is not pine. This is dry red oak. Maybe this is white oak, actually.
Look at that. Every minute there's more.
So there you go. Shows you that you get really good penetration with it. Certainly has the power to carve. It's 1/8 of an inch thick here, so you can really get a lot of strength on it, a lot of leverage. The danger with that is that this is so thin up front that the leverage back here might give you the wrong impression of the strength of the blade itself. So, you know, you wouldn't want to jam it in here and then start going like that if you had it really deep. If you yank up, you might end up pulling something out. All right, just to show after that wood carving that, I don't know if I have hair left on this arm. Maybe over here. It takes off quite a bit.
This will be my train.
Didn't lose any sharpness from just carving wood. That little amount. I mean, if I did a whole lot of carving with it or trying to scrape off everything, I'm sure I'd eventually destroy some of the steel at the edge. But this is hardened to 60 RC, so the strength at the edge is pretty good. This is AEB-L steel, which means that its tendency should be to roll instead of chip because of the lack of carbides in the apex. So hopefully you won't, if you did do any flexing like this as you're pulling along and tearing along while it's getting abraded away, the abrasion that's going to be occurring is such small chunks that you shouldn't see any large chips coming out of it at all. You'll just, you know, have your edge wear away during that kind of use. As a comparison to that AEB-L steel, this is a Spyderco Cali 3. I don't know if you can see that. It is ZDP 189 clad in 420 J2, which is why the surface of it looks all marred and finished and scratched, but you can see where the lamination line is on it anyway. So ZDP 189 core, it's probably like 63. Okay. Show you that it's sharp. Wow, that's nice and sharp. You don't need to see the hair there, you can see the bare patch on my arm. Cardboard. It's taking off some hair, but not as easily. Certainly not shaving it as aggressively as it was. So, lost the razor apex. Still plenty sharp for most purposes, but it isn't as perfect as it was, which you wouldn't expect it to. But obviously it could keep going through cardboard for a long time. Let's try the printer paper. Yeah. Could make tiny little curls there. But still, plenty sharp for printer paper. So does ZDP 189 hold its edge longer than AEB-L when the ZDP is at 63 and the AEB-L is at 60? Yeah, I think it does. Seems to. It's noticeable. Would you notice in practice cutting anything else? You might not. Besides, this one is 3 times thicker behind the edge than this one. So cutting through the cardboard is a lot harder with this one than it is with this one. So you might just want to keep going with this until you have to touch it up. You'd have to touch it up more often, but given how thin that geometry is, and this one's clearly superior for this particular task. If this one were just as thin, you might want to switch to this for that type of task, that abrasion. Anyway, alright, so let's get it back again to show that it's not really shaving. So let's give it a few swipes on the DMT, see what we can do about that. See if I even hit the apex. Yep, I hit the apex. Already back to shaving. So, in regard to the thin geometry, using a diamond hone, does this take longer? Even though it's 3 times thicker, does it take longer to sharpen than this AEB-L steel? I mean, this is the high wear steel. I mean, very high wear, very expensive, you know, powder steel. Was it 3% carbon or something like that by weight? 20% chromium by weight. This is less than 1% carbon. No difference in terms of the touch-up time. That was just, what was that, 3 passes, 4 or 5 passes per side. This is about the same. So in terms of ease of sharpening, if you have a diamond hone, it takes no longer to sharpen ZDP 189 than it takes to sharpen AEB-L. You're not going to notice that. The diamond particles are so much harder than the steel in either of these. The matrix, and even with the vanadium or the chromium carbides, I think it is what mostly is in ZDP 189. The diamond is so much harder, it can't tell the difference between this and this. There's no discernible difference from one steel to the next as far as the diamonds are concerned. Now, if you switched from diamond to some other honing compound, yeah, maybe then you'd be able to tell the difference. But use the right tool for the job. That's all.